Approximately half of the world's population will experience, or has experienced menstruation, and yet myths about this biological process still abound. In this spotlight feature, we debunk some of the most widespread menstruation misconceptions. As of 2017, the world's population numbers 7.53 billion people, of which 3.73 billion are born with female genitalia. Virtually all of them do, have, or will go through menstruation, period, the part of the menstrual cycle in which the uterus sheds mucosal tissue alongside blood through the vagina. Periods can last between 3 and 7 days and usually occur every 28 days, though menstrual cycle lengths can vary. Although this biological process affects about half of the world's population, many myths and misconceptions about it persist. Cultures around the world still vilify menstruation, and consider period blood dirty and impure, and menstruation itself as a taboo topic. For instance, although this practice is now mostly illegal, some communities, as a series of recent tragedies in Nepal suggest, still have the so-called menstruation huts, in which women on their periods spend the days in which they bleed in complete isolation. Though this is an extreme example, there are many smaller myths and misconceptions related to menstruation that remain in circulation across the globe. Read this spotlight feature to find out what some of the most popular misconceptions are, and why they are untrue. 1. Sex on your period. Some of the most widespread myths regarding menstruation gravitate around sex while on your period, with the top contender likely being that you cannot get pregnant while menstruating. Share on Pinterest: you can absolutely get pregnant if having unprotected sex on your period. However, this idea is entirely false. While it is true that, in many individuals, menstruation is the period when they are least fertile, it really depends on the length of their monthly cycles. Peak fertility occurs during the ovulation stage, which usually kicks in approximately 12 to 16 days before the start of the next period, when the ovaries produce and release fresh ovules, eggs. And while most menstrual cycles last about 28 days, some cycles can be as short as 21 days, which also impacts when ovulation takes place. Moreover, sperm can live inside the genital tract for up to 5 days or, according to some sources, even 7 days. Thus, having unprotected vaginal sex during your period could mean that the sperm gets to linger for just long enough to coincide with ovulation and fertilize an egg, resulting in pregnancy. Moreover, if you have sex during menstruation without using a condom, the risk of getting a sexually transmitted infection (STI), including HIV, or a yeast infection increases, due to the hormonal changes that occur at this time. Vaginal penile sex during a period can also, in some cases, cause inflammation of the penis head, a type of infection called balanitis. Still, as long as you take all necessary precautions to avoid an unwanted pregnancy and the transmission of STIs, there is no reason not to enjoy sex while on your period. To the contrary, in fact, as sex can help relieve cramps and improve your mood. 2. Unsafe to keep skipping your period? Another widespread misconception is that it is unsafe to use birth control pills to enable you to skip your period for a prolonged period. Share on Pinterest: skipping your periods for a prolonged time is safe. However, recent guidelines from the National Women's Health Network indicate that it is just fine to suppress menstruation through birth control pills, and most gynecologists agree that this approach is typically safe. Some people even argue that, outside of their role in reproduction, periods are unnecessary, and can be more trouble than they are worth. For instance, James Segers, from the Department of Gynecology and Obstetrics at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, told The Atlantic that, having a monthly period is reassuring, but it is certainly not necessary. 3. Shouldn't have a bath. Some think that having a bath or even taking a shower during your period is unsafe. This is either because hot water stimulates bleeding, or because the water stops you from bleeding, which can have ill effects. Go ahead and enjoy that bath without worry. It will make you feel better. While hot water can help stimulate blood flow, this can actually help relieve menstrual cramps and ease muscular tension. Bleeding does not stop following full immersion in water. However, the pressure from the water may temporarily prevent the blood from flowing out of the vagina. 4. Sinking periods. Period synchrony a real phenomenon? One pervasive question surrounding periods is whether can they actually sync. For example, if 2 or more women spend enough time together, perhaps as roommates, will they have periods at the same time? One person, speaking to MNT, said that she was even taught about period synchrony in school, and was still wondering whether the notion was accurate. She told us. I heard about period syncing a long time ago when I studied in an all-girls school. Then, when I started living with my 2 female roommates, I noticed we often had periods around the same time. Another friend says that this is due to an alpha female releasing hormones that affect the period cycles of other women around her. 5. Tampon myths. Finally, some of the most persistent misconceptions refer to the use of tampons to absorb period blood. Because a person has to insert a tampon in the vagina, some people may worry that this may cause some damage. Inserting a tampon in the vagina will not break the hymen. One primary worry is that inserting a tampon can break the hymen, which, as popular misconception has it, is a mark of virginity. In reality, the hymen is a stretchy membrane that lines the opening of the vagina and does not ordinarily cover the vaginal opening. If this were the case, the hymen would block menstrual blood and other types of discharge from leaving the body. This would be dangerous, requiring surgical intervention to correct. Because the hymen is stretchy, inserting an object as small as a tampon will not cause any tears. And since, during menstruation, the blood lubricates the vagina, inserting a tampon should not be uncomfortable, if done correctly. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.